Hi, thank you for joining me today. Today's training will focus on how to implement a token economy with response cost as part of Mary's behavior plan. As a new step in Mary's case, I wanted to review this strategy with you before you started working with her. I will explain how and when to implement it, as well as situations when it shouldn't be used. So, as you already know, this training will be individualized to Mary's case and should not be used with other clients unless specified in their behavior plan. Remember that even if this is outlined as part of their behavior plan, you should receive training on their program specifically before you implement it. Before we start, I just want to mention that we have received written as well as verbal consent from Mary to conduct this intervention. So first, let's start with some background information of our client. Mary is a 20-year-old woman who has been living at a treatment residence for the last 6 years, and she's been diagnosed with anxiety and depression. Now, medical and psychological information gathered from Mary's time here indicate that she doesn't really talk much, and when she does, her conversations surround fear, personal injury, and death. Also, Mary cries a lot, and the staff have reported that this happens without any apparent provocation. Mary has also stated that she thinks that a lot of people don't like her, and sometimes she said that people have hated her. So, staff have reported seeing other clients refusing to engage with Mary, and that they also make fun of her. So, Mary has received other different types of therapies in the past, but none have made any significant changes in her behavior. Now, Mary voiced concerns with wanting to change this depressive behavior, and after meeting with her, we identified two target behaviors, smiling and crying. Now, the goal of this treatment is to increase the frequency of Mary smiling and to decrease the frequency of Mary crying. Now, let me show you the results from the baseline the staff collected. Baseline data are what we initially collect to determine how often each behavior is occurring. And after we introduce our treatment, we can compare how often each target behavior is occurring to the baseline data, and this helps us determine if our treatment is effective. So here are the results. First, let me explain to you what each part of the graph is. This line here is called the x-axis, and it shows the time. In this case is the weeks. This line here is the y-axis, and it shows the frequency, which means the number of times Mary engaged in each behavior. Now, there are two different lines here, and these are what we call data paths. This one here is for crying, and this one is for smiling. So as you can see, Mary smiled 0 times during those 2 weeks of baseline, and she cried a total of 30 times during week 1 and a total of 28 times during week 2. Now that we have reviewed the baseline data, let me break down what a token economy with response cost is. So in Mary's case, she will earn a token each time she engages in the target behavior, in this case, smiling. So this means that each time Mary smiles, you will give her praise and give her a token. So the social praise can be something like, "You look great when you smile, here's a token," or "Good for you, you're smiling, here's a token." Once Mary earns all of her tokens, she can exchange them for one larger reward, and this would be one of her favorite things. So for example, here at the residence, she could exchange them for something like a shopping trip or to watch a favorite movie or an outing. Now, the response cost component is when Mary loses a token for crying. This means whenever you see Mary crying, you'll use a neutral tone and state what she is doing and the consequence and take a token away from her token board. So for example, if you see Mary crying, you'll approach her, ensure you have the token board with her or with you, and you'll say, "You're crying, you have to lose a token." Now make sure your tone of voice is different when you're praising her smiling versus when you're taking a token away. This will help Mary make the connection between the two expectations. Now, I was able to find 3 research articles that use a token economy with a response cost to decrease challenging behaviors in a variety of individuals, including adults like Mary. All 3 studies successfully decrease undesirable behaviors by using response cost. One of these studies showed an increase in the target behavior, and this is what we're hoping to achieve here in Mary's case. So before we wrap up, let me give you some take-home points. Make sure the reward for Mary is something she really likes and wants. And make sure you use a different tone of voice when praising her or taking a token away from her. Thank you.